guys. Okay, so I was having a conversation earlier today about like my pregnancies and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, it would actually be nice to share some of my experiences with you. Okay, so let me start. I have two kids. First of all, Zoe and Ian. Zoe is 4 and Ian is 2 at the moment. They're both going to be 5 and 3 this year. Okay, so background. Now, starting out, Zoe was going to be the first grandchild. Now that came with a lot of pressure. Let me explain why. My husband, like Hofstar, he's literally the only child, and then I come from a family of 4, but she was going to be our first child. Sorry, first grandchild, first everything, right? First child for both of us as well, for I and my husband. And so there was kind of a lot of pressure, like a lot of people, let me say, invested in, her coming and things like that, or the pregnancy in general. So I had a lot of people like, oh, how are you doing today, this and that. There was a lot of care and I loved it, but that also came with a lot of with basically zero personal space. So let me tell you what happened. Now, so I got pregnant, all of that. It was nice, it was smooth. I mean, the normal pregnancy up and down, right? But at the end of the day, when it was time to give birth, right, I think it started off, we had like games night the day before or the night before, and then we're all relaxed with my husband, my cousin, and then we when it was about 3 a.m. I started feeling some contractions, like it got worse, that kind of thing. And then I had to go and wake my husband up because I said I wasn't going to sleep, I was going to come into the room and stuff like that. And then so I had to wake him up. I'm like, okay, so I think she's coming now and all that. And next day I said, oh yeah, but before that I want to shower, I want to maybe get some food in me, like I just want to like maybe glam up a bit before going. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, we need to move now. I know. And then he was like, I don't think you fully understand what's going on. There was all this drama, but I just felt like, why shouldn't I slay? Like, regardless, like I have what Yorubas would call amumora. Like, I can withstand some pain, some pressure, and it wasn't that deep. But I mean, it was a first for everybody, so everybody was tensioned. Anyways, so eventually we got to the hospital, and guess what? My husband had called the entire world, called my mom, my dad, called my siblings, called his mom, like called everyone, like, oh, the baby's coming today, the baby's coming today. And this was as early, I mean, we started at 3 a.m, right? And so by 4, 5, like we already had people like already like showing up. My mom had already called, I'm going to first light, I'm on my way. My mother-in-law to like call me correct. I said, okay, that's fine. But guess what? They all landed in the hospital. I didn't give birth till about 10, between 10 and 10:30, right? Guess what? My entire family members filled the hospital so much that the doctor was actually scared, like, what is going on? They were like, oh yeah, your son is having a baby and we're all here for it, that kind of thing. Guess what? They were all in the room, in my room, while I was in the theater. So Zoe came out and I asked my husband to please go with the baby. I mean, I didn't want to leave the nurses with my newborn jigger, but I was still in the theater getting sewn up and all of that. And my husband left with the baby. He didn't even tell me that I had crowd waiting in my room. But anyways, it's fine. I got back into the room and I just wanted to relax, but guess what? Everyone was like, oh, how are you? Hope you're good, hope you're not in pain. Oh, how did it go? Oh, this and that. And there was a lot of information. I was just like, guys, now, elderly people, Yoruba, they trained me well. You cannot be shouting at elders, you cannot be doing anyhow. So I just kept quiet and I was taking it all in. But guess what? Well, when Zoe came out of me, yeah, they gave me my baby to hold and it was nice, but I didn't really get the chance to really like see her and just love up on her and just like let it just sink in that okay, I'm a new mom now, that kind of thing. I was still in shock. In fact, my entire like the period where I was contracting and everything was really difficult. My body was in shock and I was shaking and it was very dramatic. So I decided coming down from that, and so I got into my room and then I said, okay, I wanted to hold my baby for the first time and I wanted to really see her, like see the marvelous work of God, basically. And then I carried and I held her and legit I burst into tears, and it was such a nice moment till I heard wailing behind me. Guys, my mother-in-law was literally bawling her eyes out, and I'm like, I had to turn like, what is going on? And then even my dad was like, please, why are you crying now? Like, what happened? He was like, oh, she's crying because she's in pain, and I'm crying because she's crying, and you're like, I was just like, oh my god. Like, all that came to my mind was, please, is it your cry? As in, can you let me please cry my cry? Like, why are we having community of prayers? Like, I don't understand. Anyways, that one passed. As in, guess what? The 3 days I was in the hospital, I had family members come back to back. Yeah, they brought me food, they showed love, they wanted to greet. I know it was all good intention, but it was a lot. So that's what I meant by, you see the pressure, it just kept mounting up. I had people over, even when I got to the house, I still had people over till the day of my naming. So literally, I didn't have any rest. I just had people like coming, and you know how you have to one auntie here, one auntie here. Anyways, eventually I didn't know when I snapped, and I like fully was crying and expressing myself to my mom and saying like, oh my god, I didn't have time, like I just need personal space, boundaries, and I was all being dramatic. I didn't know, like, it pained my mom a bit because she called my sister and like said, oh my god, I offended, you're sorry, and I'm so sorry, like help me, say sorry to her, blah blah blah. And well, I kind of felt bad, but it also helped me to just like, detox, or like declutter all the things but I've bottled up in my mind, that kind of thing. So now see, that was Zoe's time. So you see, there's wisdom in learning from mistakes. So you see this Ian zone. Okay, so I'll share about Ian zone next. Bye.